Another live on Sunday. I want to do this. I'm working on my commissions, presentations, and education tools for my two commission directors, and I'm taking a break from that. But it's funny you get into wording and how you say things, and this video is all about Canada, fixing Canada, empowering the provinces as they should be in Canada. And over the last days, as I'm going through material, making these presentations, these education tools, I've popped out a few things to let people see, because people like to see things visually. And, when we look at Canada as a whole, no two provinces are the same. I mean, they exist similarly, but they have different histories, especially in politics, especially in how they evolved in Confederation, and specifically my home province, Alberta, and the province beside me, Saskatchewan, evolved much, much differently than the rest of the Canadian provinces. And, people don't know these things. People don't know about Atlantic Canada and the vast differences in these small little chunks of Atlantic Canada, little islands or little areas off the coast. People don't know. They don't know. And it's important to visualize that. It's important to incorporate that. And it's important to deal with specific terms that even myself, who is not a great literarian, that's not my skill set in life. I've gotten a lot better, as a lot of people have followed me for many years. I've gotten a lot better as I go, but I'll never be at any great, tremendous level in writing or literary use of words and language. I struggle. It is tough. I'm great at reading. I don't know why that is. I can read large volumes. I can process lots of information, and I can get to the truth of things, whether people like that or not. And that brings me to this video and some things that came forward. My friend Chris Ford, he's a teacher out in Saskatchewan, and he popped up a number of questions on my video, and it got me thinking in even more terms. And I'm realizing, because of this difference in evolution of provinces and what people think are actual factual, we're actually wrong. Federalism is the big one. Canada is a very limited federalism. We're not a true federalism. People accuse Russia of being a limited federalism. I go on academic stages out in the world, some of the greatest universities, and I've had these arguments even on Twitter. They're not our fights, but it's academic understanding, especially in Europe. And Russia's not, no. But at least they're upfront about it in their federal side. Federalism is the idea, folks, of a central power, like all governments of the world have it. The difference is most are unitary, meaning they don't recognize regional powers, none whatsoever. It's a central government, and then all the municipalities, and that's it. One size fits all for everybody. And through conquest, that doesn't work in our different states of culture. In extremely large countries like USA, Russia, Canada, China, those things don't work. To force it, you'll see the communism will come out. If you can't enjoy a healthy federalism, you see socialism forced come through. And you'll see the powers of a central government continually battle for supremacy over those regions. This is what's broken in Canada. And when we look at politicians at the provincial level with strong attachments to federal parties, and we say, oh, look, this individual's a federalist, that is the wrong term. It's an incorrect use of the literary words. The better thing to say that I'm going to use now, and I'm going to fight myself hard to use it, is central crown. When you look at a province, you say, that politician may be in love with the federal government, may be in bed with it, but that politician isn't federalist. That's the opposite. That politician is central crown, operating over a regional crown, meaning they won an election cycle as a central crown, but they won a regional crown election. That is bad. That's been one of the greatest flaws, single flaws of Canada. And we're going to highlight Alberta and Saskatchewan because my friend Chris Ford was going through it. I have a friend, Todd Wayne. He's got Alberta Stronger. He's got a pretty good following on that. And, you know, he's trying to make Alberta stronger. He's trying to get those regional powers. There's people who talk about that. But if you're going to go for true federalism, you want the powers of your province. You're not going to be able to ever achieve that if you have people from the central crown operating that regional crown. Now, I want the crown destroyed. That's a major part and fix of Canada. But while we're in this crown system, it's important for everybody, First Peoples, Canadians alike, understand we're a federalism with two crowns, a central crown and provincial and territorial crown. It's all the same kind of crown. It's all divided in Canada constitutionally since the day we were created. Did we have a say in it? No, obviously not. We, the people, don't even exist in the constitutional acts of Canada or any of the 13 amendments. More than that, again, I'm going to say, inside the constitutional acts of Canada, when this federalism was created, Section 58 gave all the regional powers. It says, codify them in provincial constitutions. It's listed right there, Section 58, 1867. Never amended, never repealed, never stricken, never altered. It's still there. More on that. We get into Section 91, all the federal powers from Section 92 all the way up to 144. Massive powers, especially in 92. 92 lists a tremendous amount. No Canadian has codified, no first person has codified anywhere in Canada. Not one region, which is all the provinces, not one territory, and no reserves, absolutely none whatsoever. In fact, all the First Peoples are removed entirely from any form of true federalism in Canada, meaning the Constitution ends for all the First Peoples at Section 91. And the federal central crown, those parties, all registered federal parties, control all the First Peoples in central crown governance. You don't get the regional crown that all the provinces and territories get, the regular old subjects of Canada. That's why they created an Indian Act, to remove all regional governance promised to everyone in Canada from you. It's illegal in international law. It's a massive human rights violation. There is no equality of the person in Canada. Anyone saying that, any politician, is nothing but a filthy human rights violator of the grossest kind, and is a complete liar. Complete liar. Absolutely, forever and a day. I battled a lawyer recently for over 3 days, nitpicking me on every little inconsistency. And we're talking about splitting hairs, and it's okay. It's okay. This lawyer was hell bent on myth busting me, and you were lying about this or that, and it's just tiny, tiny little inconsistencies. Nothing that took away from the statements made or the validity of truth of those statements. And we're talking about time frames. We're talking about months or years. Like, come on, we're splitting hairs. But what really got him in the end, what sent him and his bags packing, which I shock a lot of lawyers, a lot of Canadian Crown sworn lawyers, is the fact they get into all the way with me. Some do go that far. And in the end, they realize the UK in the House of Lords has abolished the Crown to govern in any country, anywhere in the world. Zero governance. So the idea that the oath sworn to His Majesty Charles III and that doesn't translate to Governor General of Canada, who is appointed and sworn to Prime Minister. And if anyone doubts that and says, it's not true, you're lying, the Prime Minister in 30 days can hire and fire any Governor General in Canada at a whim. Snap of a finger. The ultimate executive power of Prime Minister. People talk about Vladimir Putin and the civil law socialist system of Russia. I'm going to tell you, Prime Minister and President and the flip-flopping of that is the equivalent of Prime Minister of Canada and Governor General of Canada. It's the equivalent. The difference is Vladimir Putin is up front, honest, and totally transparent about all of it. The Russian Federation is transparent with all of it. They're talking about a single federal party system while we have a multi-party system under one design of crown, meaning they all run the same, regardless of what they tell you or campaign on or pretend to be. I could say I'm the Jesus party of Canada. It doesn't mean I'm Jesus. I can say that, use the word, just like I could use the word conservative, but if all my actions aren't conservative by literal definition, I don't know why you should be allowed to use that word. That's a lie. We talk about lies. Conservative starts with physical conservative. Restraint on spending and borrowing. There is no history of any conservative party outside of one in the province of Alberta. Only one. And that was Premier Ralph Klein, who ever balanced a budget and paid off a debt. He was a real, literal conservative. In all of Canada's history, there's no others. There's never been any others. All that's happened federally and provincially is more and more massive deficits and total debt, provincially and federally. So conservative, that word shouldn't be there. That word doesn't describe that party, not literally and not by primary definition, not even close. So then they start saying, well, there's all kinds of conservatives that have nothing to do with physical. Then don't use the word conservatives, because that's the number one literal definition. Call yourself the Socialist Party of Canada. Don't call yourself conservative. It is lying to the masses. You people want to talk about myth busting. There's another term that's incorrect. Liberals. Liberal. Oh yeah, rights and freedoms. And we look at that definition. Do the Liberals honor any of that? Is that definition applicable to that party? Nope. None whatsoever. What about NDP, the New Democratic Party, Labour Party? Do they fit for Labour or just one central government authority in Labour? Well, that's not everybody. It's not the primary sector. That's not farmers, small business owners, the rest of it. That's all labor intensive too. They don't represent that. Should you be able to call yourself that if the definition doesn't fit primary literal definition? Probably not. Folks, Canada has designed provinces all differently with different histories. The provinces with the most private property are all provinces that built regional governmental parties strictly in the region. The successes of those provinces, you can look. Most land availability, biggest settlements for the First Peoples. Alberta Métis got the largest land settlement in all of Canada. Alberta Métis. The only ones. All of Alberta's ceded, it's settled, how did that happen? Oh yeah, regional parties did it. And they're not done. Why are they not done? Why did it all of a sudden end? Oh, because a federal party, a central crown, became a party in the regional crown's jurisdiction. We let a party with federal crown, central crown, take over regional governance, regional crown. You become unitary. We don't have codified provincial constitutions. That's why all these problems exist. Look at British Columbia. Highly unseated, stayed liberal forever. They did get into the social credit, but they never, ever relinquished their federal ties. That party was created in Alberta and then branched out there, and then we watch it become a federal system. That's BC. Highly unseated, hardly settled, massive density in a small portion of unceded land. Guess what? Ontario and Quebec, exact same thing. Until they got into separatist parties that only resort to the federal crown, and they registered federally too. What our party promises to do is to make all provinces stronger, like my friend Todd Wayne's Alberta Stronger. All provinces stronger. How do you do that? You give the regional crown, smash it into 2 million pieces and give it to the people in constitutional conventions, as well as the federal. You can only successfully do that Canada-wide with a federal party winning prime minister in a minority. You fire the governor general in writing, submitted to the entire parliament, the Senate, and to the party, the governor general. You are hereby removed, and a letter appointing your next for the 30-day period of ascension. That new governor general is sworn to you, the people, and will not allow any parliament to do any bills. They won't even open up the parliament until constitutional conventions are done across all 338 federal ridings in Canada. More than that, it is the Governor General. At the same time as we do Governor General, we send out the same letters of termination to all lieutenant governors of the provinces through the new Governor General of Canada. And they appoint the next 13, that's 10 lieutenant governors and 3 territorial commissioners. They appoint them. Those are sworn to the Governor General of Canada, who is the Majesty, is the Crown in Canada. If you don't believe me, folks, pick up the phone tomorrow morning, go call London, go call the House of Lords and ask them. There's lots of publications anyway, but as Boris Johnson and his House of Lords clearly stated, clearly published, I have it, the royal family does not run their country or any countries throughout the world. Well, how is Canada able to get away with what they do? Because it's a lie, folks. They've stolen the crown. They did it in 1952, and they continue onward. It's why they were able to throw away the Jay Treaty, a treaty the USA recognizes for all the American Indian peoples outside of America. Well, who's that? All the Canadian First Peoples. You're free to travel to the U.S. You're free to administer all of your rights in the U.S. No problem. It's called the Jay Treaty. Canada threw it away in 1956. If the Ukraine Crown was down with that or ran Canada, why would they allow that to happen in Canada, but not them and the USA and the American Indians? Why? Because the crown is Canada's. It's been taken by Canada officially and forever and a day, long past Westminster into 1952. King George VI, after the promise he made with Sir Winston Churchill, I have all the letters, got them from London's top legal experts, held in the University of London. Anyone can look at it. University of England, you can look at it. Oxford, you can look at it. You'll see all the letters, the deal made with one Teddy Roosevelt, President of the United States, 1941. That's what the UK had to agree to. Again, it was Colonial Wars I, Colonial Wars II. Russia over Nazi Germany, they had the Yalta Conference, just like the 1941 Atlantic Charter. That was the promise King George VI and Sir Winston Churchill made with the victorious allies of World War II. It's how non-colonials, USA, and non-colonial Russia, USSR at the time, fought for and with the Allies in World War II. Because before that, folks, it was colonial wars, empires versus empires, those fighting for crown colonial assets, other areas of the world that they wanted for themselves. King of all kings, that's what that war, World War II and World War I, was all about taking and forcing assets from other countries. And remember, we were the League of Nations before that. 1941 Atlantic Charter in Newfoundland, the promise to Teddy Roosevelt, the Yalta Conference promise to Joseph Stalin, and China's there, all those five allies, the promise from Britain and France. And remember, France was completely taken over and overrun by Nazi Germany. UK was gonna fall. They were gonna fall. They made their deal. We will decolonize the world. We will create this UN. We will bind the five. We promise no more colonies, no more British rule, no more royal family administering anything on any countries. None. Uh-oh. Canada's constitution remains forever and a day, designed from 1867. None of it repealed, all the way through. 154 pages, folks. The Charter, 1982, one amendment, it's a page. It's a page, the Charter. There's much more to that throughout that amendment. But everything leading up to that amendment, all the other 12 amendments, those amendments are there along with the original Constitution unamended. Right at the end, it tells you the grandiose power and the power of the royal family to trick Canadians, but yet we're not allowed to be that way in this day and age. It's contrary to the UN. It's expulsionary in the UN. And Canada keeps it a secret. We won't look at it. Every liar, I hate to say it, you've got to be a liar, because I'll tell you, every other lawyer outside of Canada and probably Australia, New Zealand, but every other lawyer from all countries around the world, most of which the United States, will tell you that's not the law in the world today. Canada is in violation. But it's up to us, the people. We don't say nothing. We sit there with our heads in the sand and we get along and go along. We're going to fight this system. We're going to break the crown. We're going to give the powers of the province. When we ascend the new lieutenant governors, guess what they're going to do? Exactly what our governor general is going to do. Sorry, there won't be any parliament today. Sorry, I won't be stamping any bills. Sorry, none of the lieutenant governors of any legislature will open a legislature or stamp any bills. They won't. All politicians in every region, which is the 10 provinces, the 3 territories, and all federal MPs will be told, because there's more crown power, like paychecks. You won't be paid unless you go out there and you help administer the constitutional conventions in your federal ridings and your provincial constituencies. Work together, folks. Province by province, territory by territory. And those who don't want to do it, no problem. You won't get paid. You won't be able to do anything, because here's something else all Canadians need to know. Did you know if you win minority prime minister, you don't need a majority? The military is all sworn to the crown. Governor General. All police sworn to the crown. Who's that? Governor General. All of the justice system sworn to Governor General. Shall I go on and on and on and on? That's how it works. This is exactly what Hitler did with Nazi Germany. Of course, he did it the wrong way, but because he took Chancellor, and again, the exact same design as Prime Minister and Governor General of Canada. Why? Because Canada was built first. Canada was the first example. Germany, and what the Chancellor and PM did of that time to create Nazi Germany and see the Enabling Act, was use that power, just the same power, crown power of Governor General, to take the military, the police, and the justice system. Go read your history books. It's all true. Hitler did evil. What we're going to do is put everybody in charge. We're not writing the Constitution. If anyone thinks they're getting involved with our party to write their own Constitution and present it to millions of Canadians, you're barking up the wrong tree. We are going to have literally 167 of the world's greatest legal minds already been out in the world to collect those folks. The best of the best from every major university throughout the world in every minority language. Every single one. And before people say, why would they take a step back? Because we're going to pay them to. Taxpayers are going to pay them to. Just for a 3 to 9 month period. Whatever it takes for Canadians and First Peoples to get this done for and by the people. You will go in your community, in your reserve, town hall, you name it, every Canadian over the age of 18 will be included if they want to be. You're crafting the Constitution, not me, not our party. We're just going to put the government legislators and enactors on hold. There's nothing they can do. And if anyone's worried about the Senate, sorry guys, guess what? All senators are sworn to the crown. You can read it in the last page of the Canadian Constitution. Still unamended. No Trudeau, no Pierre Poilievre, no Jagmeet Singh, no Bloc, Yves Blanchette, Maxime Bernier, or anybody else could stop us if we win minority PM. Because they would have to amend the Constitution. And you need 7 provinces out of 10 to do that. And he's not going to get that. It's too hard. Because if you open up the Constitution for those things, people are going to want to open up for a lot more. And they know not to. That's how it's done. That's how it's done. And people worrying about the system, whatever budget's in place and whatever government system by whichever party of the time in 2025, it's probably going to be liberal, will stay in place for that whole period until you, the people, have had your time, your say, and you've gone through all of it, and you've crafted your Constitution for you, for and by the people. No lie. All the experts we have will show you. A lot of them have been around the world doing a lot of these constitutional changes. A set of them in South America just fell on their ass. It's not their fault. The regime in power who wanted to do the Constitutional Convention said, we're just going to have an elite set decide. You guys run it, and then we'll present in referendum to the people. So this is for those who think they can write a constitution on behalf of nearly 40 million Canadians. They tried it just in Brazil, and it fell flat on its ass. Why? Because the people weren't included. Nobody wants to have somebody's presentation dictated to them. They want to do it themselves. They want to be involved. The First Peoples and Canadians. We're going to have 2 nations here, a nation within a nation. And again, for all those saying it's cockamamie, it's not, because it exists. United States of America, very successful. Very successful. There are problems with the U.S. I only use the USA as an example, folks, because they did a we the people successfully, a real federalism. They have tremendous protections, have lasted the test of time, and they have a purely independent judiciary. I'm not saying their social structure, their benefits and programs, executive power of president is perfect. It's not. It's clearly not. But remember, it's a very old system. We've learned a lot. The world and academia has learned a lot. We've come a long way since World War II. I would love to see the U.S. do a lot of amendments, but it's very, very hard. And we need to codify our Constitution. We need to learn from the best and all examples worldwide. Every idea all of you have will be looked at. You will get to go through it with an expert in whatever language you're naturalized to, your first language, whether it's French, English, Spanish, Italian, Vietnamese, Portuguese, German, Greek, goes on and on. We have all those people covered. Swahili, we can go on and on and on. All the First Peoples languages, we will have all that available. And it will be you, the people, in town halls right across Canada, in every community and in every reservation. For the First Peoples and for Canadians, same education, same work-through system, 2 nations, a nation within a nation, 1 UN state called Canada. That's what the Allies want to see. That's what we're going to do. We're going to follow international law. You're all going to learn international law as it really is. You're going to learn how to create rules of governance, how to govern, and accountability. Things that are missing from Canada. We're going to go through the entire legal system, the entire legal framework of Canada. We're going to dismember all the garbage and reintroduce in design all the things you, the people, want to see. And it will be by majority. And it will also follow international law, and that's after you've all been educated. Because we all have ideas. Everybody does. But how did your idea work out in history? If your idea didn't work out well in history, I think all the people are going to look at that and say, we have presentations showing that's not good. And maybe some people say, oh yeah, I didn't realize that. Okay, I want to amend this or change this or go a different direction. That's called growth. And when you involve all the people in that, everybody in that with their different expertise, ideas, and directions, you come with a better system overall that everybody can get behind. That's my video, folks. I hope you learned a lot. You learned a lot that Canada doesn't operate as it's designed to be constitutionally since day one. It's never operated for the First Peoples, and it certainly doesn't operate in a class structure for almost all of those from the second and third class down. It's quite the opposite. Subject to. Not good. Not good. That's my video. Share, share, share. Get it out there. A lot of education here. A lot of knowledge that people need to know. Terms. Proper use of terms. Thanks. That's my video. Bye now.